campers, I gotta make this quick because I bet Jordan has already gone and started the campfire for us. And Tonia, I know, has a lot that she wants to share with us today. Why am I still here? Come with me to the campfire.
Campfire sing-along.
We're so excited to be singing 3 songs. You're gonna get your workout in today because there's lots of actions and lots of singing while doing actions. We're gonna start with a classic. I feel like we always start with classics.
They're all classics.
You gotta have all the
good.
camp classics at campfire.
Yeah.
We're gonna start with "Hi, my name is Joe,"
Hi,
or
Joe.
the Button Factory song. Okay, and all together.
All right, here we go.
Hi,
my name is Joe. Hi, Joe, and I work in a button factory. I got a wife, woo, 2 kids and a dog. Woof. One day, my boss says to me, he said, "Joel, man, are you busy, man?" I said, "No, man." He said, "Push this button with your right hand." I said, "Boom, chicka, boom, chicka, boom, chicka, boom, chicka, hi." My name is Joe. Hi, Joe, and I work in a button factory. I got a wife, woo, 2 kids and a dog. Woof. One day, my boss says to me, he said, "Joel, man, are you busy, man?" I said, "No, man." He said, "Push this button with your left hand." I said, "Boom, chicka, boom, chicka, boom, chicka, boom, chicka, hey." My name is Joe. Hi, Joe, and I work in a button factory. I got a wife, woo, 2 kids and a dog. Woof. One day, my boss says to me, he said, "Joel, man, are you busy, man?" I said, "No, man." He said, "Push this button with your right foot." I said, "Boom, chicka, boom, chicka, boom, chicka, boom, chicka, hi." My name is Joe. Hi, Joe, and I work in a button factory. I got a wife, woo, 2 kids and a dog. Woof. One day, my boss says to me, he said, "Joe, man, are you busy, man?" I said, "No, man." He said, "Push this button with your left foot." I said, "Boom, chicka, boom, chicka, boom, chicka, boom, chicka, hey." My name is Joe. Hi, Joe, and I work in a button factory. I got a wife, woo, 2 kids and a dog. Woof. One day, my boss says to me, he said, "Joe, man, are you busy, man?" I said, "No, man." He said, "Push this button with your head." I said, "Boom, chicka, boom, chicka, boom, chicka, hey." My name is Joe. Hi, Joe, and I work in a button factory. I got a wife, woo, 2 kids and a dog. Woof. One day, my boss says to me, he said, "Joe, man, are you busy, man?" I said, "No, man." He said, "Push this button with your tongue." I said, "Hey." That is the highlight, and I work in the button factory. I got a wife, 2 kids and a dog. One day, I said, "Yeah, Joe, man, are you busy?" I said, "Yes!"
Everyone,
Wow.
take a breather. Take a breather.
Wow. That was amazing. All right. We're going on to the next one right away. I'm going to switch spots with Christy because she knows this one better.
This is a repeat after me song.
This is a repeat after me song.
Way down the road.
Way down the road.
Not so very far off.
Not so very far off.
A blue jay died
A blue jay died
of the whooping cough.
of the whooping cough.
He whooped so hard.
He whooped so hard.
And he whooped so long.
And he whooped so long.
He whooped his head.
And he whooped his head.
And his tail right off. And his
And his tail right off.
Way down the road!
Way down the road!
Not so very far off!
Not so very far off!
A blue jay died!
A blue jay died!
Of the whooping cough!
Of the whooping cough!
He whooped so hard!
He whooped so hard!
And he whooped so long!
And he whooped so long!
That he whooped his head! Way down the road,
Way down the road,
not so very far off,
not so very far off,
a blue jay died
a blue jay died
of the whooping cough.
of the whooping cough.
He whooped so hard,
He whooped so hard,
and he whooped so long,
and he whooped so long,
that he whooped his head,
that he whooped his head.
and a tail right off.
All right, we're gonna do our last song, which we sang way back at the beginning of Camp4U. It's Father Abraham. So I was informed we did some of the actions wrong, so we're gonna do it right. And it's lots of fun because there's arms moving and stuff like that. But we're gonna do it right. It's gonna be a lot of fun. So here we go. We sing this one all together.
Yeah. Ready?
Father Abraham had many sons, and many sons had Father Abraham. I'm one of them, and so are you. So let's just praise the Lord, right arm. Father Abraham had many sons, and many sons had Father Abraham. I'm one of them, and so are you. So let's just praise the Lord, right arm, left arm. Father Abraham had many sons, and many sons had Father Abraham. I'm one of them, and so are you. So let's all praise the Lord, right arm, right foot. Father Abraham had many sons, and many sons had Father Abraham. I'm one of them, and so are you. So let's just praise the Lord, right arm, right foot, left foot. Father Abraham had many sons, and many sons had Father Abraham. I'm one of them, and so are you. So let's just praise the Lord, right arm, right foot, left foot, chin. Father Abraham had many sons, and many sons had Father Abraham. And I'm one of them, and so are you. So let's just praise the Lord, right arm, right foot, left foot, chin up, turn. Father Abraham and many sons had Father Abraham. And I'm one of them, and so are you. So let's just praise the Lord. Right arm, right foot, chin up, turn around, sit down. Woo! Wow.
Woo, that was fun!
I didn't sit down.
Oh yeah.
I don't know about you guys, but I feel a little dizzy. That was lots of fun.
And while you're already sitting, we're gonna head up to chapel.
Chapel.
Hey you guys, it's chapel, and I just want to say thank you so much for joining me in chapels and learning about Jesus and the Bible and memory verses. I have loved doing chapel with you guys, and so I just wanted to say thank you for coming to chapel. So I have for you our last memory verse for the summer. You guys, we're going to do it for the next couple of weeks because we've been, taking our time learning a couple of different memory verses for a couple of weeks. So this new memory verse is found in Psalm 16, verse 8. Ready to go? Psalm 16, verse 8. I keep my eyes always on the Lord. With him at my right hand, I will not be shaken. That's pretty easy, right? Super easy. Okay, and so what that just means is that we know that God is with us always, and we can know that. So when we set our sights, when we keep our eyes on the Lord, that's sort of like knowing that he's always with us, that he's always beside us, and that we don't have to be afraid. We're not going to be shaken, and he is always right beside me. Okay, so let's do it together again. Here we go. Psalms 16, verse 8. I keep my eyes always on the Lord. With him at my right hand, I will not be shaken. Good job. Wow, you guys, seriously, every time I say it, but you guys are so fast. So good. So I want you guys to practice, okay? Well, we're gonna get right into it, and we are gonna start with a sword drill.
Sword drill.
All right, so again, our sword drill is where we look in the Bible for a story or a verse that we want to find, and this is just a fun way to look together, right? So we're going to take our Bible, which is this big book full of little books with little stories that tell us a big story about God, right? It's awesome, and we've been learning lots of little stories, and we're starting to hear more and more about this big story about God, right? All right, so we're going to put the spine down in our hand and we're going to put it way up in the air. I'm going to say the reference, where it's found, what book we're going to, what story we're going to, and then you guys are going to repeat it, and then I'm going to say charge, and then we're going to find it as fast as we can. All right? See if you're getting faster all this summer. All right, here we go. Matthew 20, verse 1 to 16. Your turn. Matthew 20, verse 1 to 16. Charge. Here we go. Here we go. You guys. All right, who's got it? Matthew 20. I got it. Whew. You guys are all standing before me. Seriously, you guys should all just, can't wait for you to come back to camp and to see you guys jumping up in chapel because you guys got the verse. So we're going to just be excited about that. All right, so I am going to read this and you guys can follow along and we're going to talk about it. All right. God's kingdom is like an estate manager who went out early in the morning to hire workers for his vineyard. He owned a place where they grow grapes. And they agreed on a dollar value. So they were going to get paid a certain amount and they went to work. Everybody was happy, right? So later, about middle of the morning, the manager saw some of the other men hanging around the town square and invited them to come work for them because they weren't doing anything else. And they agreed and he put them to work. And then middle of the afternoon, about 3 o'clock, he went back into town. Same thing happened. There were some guys there, some people there that weren't working and were ready to come and work for him. And so he invited them out and put them to work. And then about 5 o'clock, he went out and that was almost the end of the day, right? Like 5 o'clock, it's almost the end of the day. And so he brought some more people back to his vineyard to work in the field. And okay, well, nobody seemed to mind that there was more workers there. And so at the end of the day, the boss, the estate owner who owned the field, called all of his workers together and lined them up. And then all of a sudden, he started to hand them their paychecks, right? Started to hand them the money that he had promised to pay them for the work they were doing. And so he started with the ones that came at the end of the day, like at 5 o'clock, so the last ones that were hired, and back to the first who'd been there all day. And so those that were hired at 5 o'clock came to the estate owner and he handed them the dollar. Well, and when the people who were hired first saw that they got the same dollar that they had gotten and they had worked for 8 hours and that guy had only worked for 1 hour, they were so mad, so mad. And so they said to the manager, to the boss, they said, those workers put in 1 easy hour and you just told them they were the same as us. They were equal. We had slaved all day outside under the hot sun. And he said to the one that was speaking for all of the others who were grumbling in the back, dear friend, I haven't been unfair. We agreed on the wage of that dollar, didn't we? And so they had to agree. And so he said, you need to take it and you can go. I decided to give the one who came last the same as you, and I can do that with my own money because he was the boss, right? And so he asked them, are you going to be angry because I am generous? That is pretty crazy. It's like an upside down story a little bit, right? So this story that Jesus tells is a parable. So it's not something that really happened. It's a story that Jesus tells us to teach us a lesson. So I'm gonna tell us another parable, maybe that we can kind of relate to. So it's kind of like you guys agreeing to do a chore for your neighbor all day. You got up on Saturday morning and your neighbor next door said, hey, Martin, do you want to come clean the garage for me? And you were like, sure. And he said, I'll give you $10 for the whole day. And you're like, sweet. So you get in there and you get working and you're putting things in boxes and you're taking garbage to the garbage and you're sweeping and moving things around that your neighbor wants you to. And then around lunchtime, your brother finally got out of bed and he wanders over. And he talks to your neighbor and he's like, sure, come on in. And he starts helping you and you're like, oh, super glad for the help because now you can pick up the heavy boxes together and put them where they need to go. And oh, all of a sudden it's just great. And then right after school, about 3:30, your cousin wanders down because he's been playing at the park all day. So around after school time shows up, so about 3:30, he comes in and notices you guys are working and says to the neighbor, "Hey, Mr. Neighbor, can I help too?" And the guy's like, "Sure, come on in." So now you've got like 3 guys, 3 friends, lifting things and putting things away and holding things so you can put things underneath, and so much help, right? Whew, the day is almost done, and right before supper, a friend from down the street wanders by and sees everybody working together. And so he goes and knocks on the door and says, "Hey, neighbor friend, can I work today too in your garage?" And he's like, "Absolutely." So he comes and kind of helps just put the last broom in the cupboard, and turns off the lights and helps finish up the tidy and takes the last bag to the garbage. And as you guys are about to go home for supper, the neighbor comes out of his house that you've been working on, and he says, "Hey guys, awesome. Before you go, I'm going to pay you what I said I owe you." So the guy who just showed up, he hands him $10. And then your cousin, who came about 3:30, kind of after school time, hands him $10. And then your brother, what does he get? That's right, $10. And then now maybe you're thinking, "Oh, well, compared to them, maybe I'm going to get more." And then your neighbor hands you $10. How you feeling right now? Doesn't seem quite fair, does it? Even though you had been working hard all day, and maybe you're upset now because he gave all the other kids who had come to help throughout the day that they hadn't worked as long, and maybe you didn't think they worked as hard, and yet they received the same money. And maybe you start to complain, and your neighbor says to you, "Hey, why are you mad at me because I am good and generous to those who have helped me out today? That's not up to you." Interesting story, hey? When we take it from being somebody who worked in a field far away in a story to maybe you and me and how we look at other people around us. So here's the word that's going to help us understand this story. The word is generous. A generous person is someone who is unselfish and kind. That seems pretty good, right? Who gives freely, abundantly, and with good will. So he gives it without any grumbling that he is giving goodness away. So generosity refers to something that's rich and overflowing, right? So much goodness. And so sometimes when we start making comparisons, we set our sights on things that seem unfair. Now this story teaches us not to be envious or jealous of others, but to remember the generosity of God's love, which is offered to everyone, you and me, regardless of how much we think they're worthy of it. And so when we compare, we feel like things are unfair and that we don't have what we think we should have, or aren't as fast or as good as somebody else that maybe we're comparing ourselves to. But really, you guys, what that does when we compare ourselves to somebody else, we are stealing from ourselves and from others. Comparing, wishing like we were like somebody else, or we had something that somebody else had, steals our joy. So we can set our sights on God, on who He is, on who He made us to be, on all the things that He's done for us and how much He loves us, and that gives us joy. Because you guys, what? Where we set our sights, that's right, our feet will follow. And that is also the feet of our mind. Now we can see God's generosity everywhere in the world. Can you think of some examples? Where do you see God's generosity of the way that He gives to us in ways that are just abundant and overflowing? Yeah, I think about the big prairie skies and the beautiful blue that goes on forever, or when the clouds roll in and the sun is setting and all of that pink and orange and colors end up all over those beautiful clouds, and that feels generous to me. That is something that I feel like God's saying, hey, this is beautiful things for you to look at that I'm giving to you. I mean, how amazing is that? Even the mountains or a rushing waterfall, and the birds and the animals and the fish in the sea, and the tiny wildflowers in the field, all of the things that we can see. And then we can think about all the people that we love and who love us and care for us and our friends. Those are all amazing gifts from God and His generosity. We don't deserve those things. I didn't deserve the mountains and the big prairie skies, and neither did you. But God is generous and He gives us those things to show us that He loves us. I mean, how amazing. Okay, I have another question for you. What are you good at? And what do you like about who you are? Think about that for a second. Maybe you're good at puzzles, or like we did in the Strategics Tribal Melee. Maybe you're good at playing the piano, or fast at sports, or really, really good reader. Or you love your curly hair and your brown eyes, or your freckles. Or maybe you feel a little bit like Cassandra when we did those random human tricks, and that she didn't kind of feel like she could do anything compared to anybody else. But she's amazing, right? It didn't really seem fair at first, and yet Cassandra is special, just like you guys. How amazing are all of my friends and the crazy things they did that day. And that is what I know is true about you guys. And that is God's generosity to us as well. He gives us all of those things in abundance. So whether we look at somebody else and think that they shouldn't have all the things that they have, or that we should have more, that comparing steals our joy and the ability to celebrate all of those things. So Jesus uses the landowner story and the workers in his field to teach us to set our sights on how good and generous God is to each and every one of us, to not compare or let our joy be stolen away from us, to celebrate each other. So I'm going to celebrate you and all those great things you said that you were good at and things that you loved about yourself. And I'm going to celebrate me, and I'm going to be thankful for who God is, how much He loves us, takes care of us, and how we can help others to do the same. So let's practice our new memory verse one more time. Did you guys catch the actions before? Here we go. Psalms 16, verse 8. I keep my eyes always on the Lord, and with Him at my right hand, I will not be shaken. Good job. All right, I will see you guys later.
That was such an amazing Monday, and I just can't wait for Random Wednesday. But before I go, I'm going to remind you guys of all of the challenges that you have for this week already. So first comes from our craft, where we were doing tie-dye. So we want to see what your guys' tie-dye creations look like, and maybe some pictures of the process along the way. Second challenge comes from our Strategics Tribal Melee this morning. We want to see your guys' puzzles. What puzzles you guys have at home. We want to see you guys putting them together, what the finished product looked like, and we want to see cool puzzles. There's so many different shapes and cool puzzles. We want to see what they look like. The third challenge is a theme meal for this week. So we are doing a red carpet event. So we want to see you guys all dressed up and at your dinner table eating supper in the theme meal, and just how much fun that was. And also adding more on, we will always take videos of you guys doing campfire songs or saying the memory verse. So there's lots of stuff for you guys to do the rest of today and tomorrow before Wednesday. So I hope you guys have fun doing all these challenges, and we will be back here on Wednesday.